You are watching Shaw Arts and Entertainment. I am your host, Curtis Anderson. We're downtown Saskatoon today in front of the Galaxy Theatre. I'm alongside Craig, the Movie Geek. Craig, you may notice the giant poster behind us, which is somehow harder to get on camera than we expected. That's why we've got the extreme angles coming for the Shaw TV viewers. It's like a Beastie Boys video here. It's been about a week and a half since Dark Knight Rises hit the world. There's obviously been the bad, the negative, what happened in the States, the massacre. There's been the good reviews. People have very mixed feelings about this movie. Where do we even start with this monster of a movie, this pop culture monster?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I guess the first thing I really wanted to ask myself after seeing it was, is it a satisfying ending to the trilogy? And I think the answer to that is yes. Definitely. I think it's a very dense movie. So even I need to go back and see it a couple more times to really be able to talk at length about it. And I think that might throw off some just casual theater goers. I gave it pretty much the same review as the previous movie, The Dark Knight. But I think I liked The Dark Knight slightly better. Just a little bit more fun, maybe.
I had a lot of people say they saw the movie, they went home, woke up the next day, were thinking about it, and said, no, this is better than The Dark Knight. I kind of almost had the opposite. I walked out of there going, that was a phenomenal movie. That is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, but the hole started to show the next day. One of my biggest concerns is that Bane is hard to understand sometimes. A lot of my friends in radio didn't have that problem. I guess I'm a TV guy. I look for the lips moving, but like a lot of dialogue between him and Batman was like, and the Batman was like, and I was like, what? What's going on here?
Could you speak up?
Yeah. I didn't mind Bane. It's funny because in the comic books, he's much sillier. He looks like a big,
he's a wrestler.
Mexican wrestler with a luchador mask and everything. So I'm glad they made him a little cooler. Yeah. I didn't have problems understanding him, but maybe that is because I'm a radio guy, and I do know that I had several people that did also comment on that he was hard to understand at points.
Thoughts on Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway, I think she was fine. I didn't really have a big problem with her. I didn't think she was great. Yeah. I think she really benefited this time around from the fact that Chris Nolan's take is a little more gritty, a little more realistic, so it wasn't this Julie Newmar like, oh, Batman, I've got the perfect plan,
But but where really do you go with the Catwoman character? That was kind of my complaint, and just not a big fan of Anne Hathaway. I mean, she looks like somebody's bland little sister there. And then again, no spoiler, but there's that one scene where like her and Batman are back to back, and they're taking on like 100 guys, and I'm like, am I watching Batman and Robin suddenly? Like, is that we're dangerously drifting into that territory? But you didn't mind Catwoman?
No, I didn't mind her. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I think she is a more bland entry to this movie. And as I was saying, it's dense. There's a lot of characters, especially at the beginning. It kind of unfolds eventually. And so you don't want to fall into that trap of the third movie in the comic book series, Spider-Man 3 being a great example, where they try to throw in way too many things, too many characters, too many things going on. And I think they get close to that here, but they don't quite go over the edge enough to, ruin the movie or anything.
We were talking about Bane a second ago too, and I liked the puffy winter jacket. I thought he was like the first person since Fred Durst to like make a puffy winter jacket cool. I don't know.
Not much for Tom Hardy, the actor that plays Bane, to be able to go on. He's a great British actor. He's been in other Nolan stuff and some other great performances. But with that face mask covering his face the whole time, it limited his performance a little bit, I think. And that's not a knock against him. I think if anything, he did well with what he had. But it's hard to emote when you have this, crazy Darth Vader voice and this mask on your face.
I don't really want to bring it up because I kind of feel this is why that horrible human being did it. But when you look back 10, 15 years from now, are people going to remember the movie, or are they going to remember the massacre? Kind of like, are you going to remember Heath Ledger's The Joker, or are you going to remember the fact that he died before the movie? Like, what's going to be the story, do you think?
I hope it's the movie. I went to the IMAX screening at the Science Center in Regina. They were cool enough to invite me down there to review it. And we had a moment of silence before the screening and stuff, so very respectful.
Really classy.
But as far as I'm concerned, it's really cool that Christian Bale's going to Aurora to, check the place out and tour. But this really shouldn't be tied into Batman as much as it is. We should be asking questions about, mental illness, gun laws in the States, that sort of thing, not tying this so much to Batman in The Dark Knight, because it really was just the actions of a crazy person that, shouldn't be tied in too much with this movie. And I think Warner actually dealt very well with this in the wake. They took it respectfully instead of taking my opinion and, didn't release box office results and stuff like that. So, I think they did a good job of handling the situation at the last second there, canceling a few screenings and stuff like that too.
But again, I don't want to go too far into this, but that's kind of like, probably his bigger problem was that this was such a huge event in a world of so many problems. This is what the world is dwelling on right now, and he just had to knock it down a peg. Again, I'm not agreeing with him or saying it's right. I'm just saying that's probably what was going through his sick mind at the time, and I'm with you. I hope that doesn't define this movie 10, 15 years from now. We should wrap this up, Craig. All in all, the trilogy, I got to put it at the top. I mean, I'm sorry, Star Wars. I'm sorry, Back to the Future. This is the trilogy for this guy right here. Dark Knight, still at the top. The other two very close behind. You said this was, what did you give this movie?
I went with 4.5 out of 5, and that's the same thing I gave The Dark Knight. But like I said, I think I liked The Dark Knight slightly better, but they did technically register the same on the scale. So.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to see it a few more times here before it's out of the theaters. I have a feeling it'll be here for a little while. But thank you so much for your insight. Craig, the Movie Geek. Thanks, buddy.
Right on, man.